divinely confirmed. 7 miraculous secrets God will reveal to you for supernatural transformation. In the quaint English village of Fairwood, nestled between rolling hills and fragrant fields, there lived a young woman named Sarah. At just 20, Sarah was the heart of her devout family, blooming amidst the echoes of financial woes and community prayers directed to St. Jude, the saint of lost causes. But one fateful morning, Sarah's world teetered dangerously on the edge. Her beloved father, John, fell gravely ill. The sacred chapel, once a haven of faith, became a low hum of stormy whispers, and despair began to seep into the hearts of the villagers. Yet, amidst the dark clouds of despair, a flicker of hope ignited during an evening service. The candlelight flickered as the congregation gathered, their faces worn with worry. Pastor Matthew, a pillar of strength, spoke with an unwavering conviction that stirred the very air. "Divine power is upon us. Sarah," he called out, his voice echoing like thunder. "God has chosen you. Share your faith, and you shall discover 7 miraculous secrets that will transform our village." Lightning seemed to strike within her heart as the words landed like sacred rain. Sarah felt an electric surge, a calling to uncover what lay behind the walls of doubt. With every heartbeat, she embraced the urgency of her quest. Her footsteps quickened as she sought the first miracle, a healing warmth that spread through her as she touched a withering flower and felt it bloom vibrant beneath her fingers. But as she shared her vision, the shadows of skepticism loomed larger. Doubts gathered like storm clouds, especially from her own family, shrouded in grief. "Sarah, you're clinging to fantasies. This world is harsh," her sister cried. An elder in the community, a well-respected man, rose during a meeting, voice dripping with disdain. "How can we believe in miracles when despair stares us in the face? Just look at your father." His words pierced Sarah's heart like arrows. Desperation settled in as she felt the unyielding grip of doubt encircle her. Determined to answer despair with faith, Sarah organized a prayer rally, inviting all to gather and beseech God for hope. The night fell, wrapped in a cool, expectant silence, as villagers filled the chapel, faces illuminated by flickering candles. The air hummed with earnest whispers, prayers swirling like smoke toward the heavens, a chorus of longing hearts. And then, in the silence of seeking souls, it happened. Just as Sarah felt her spirit wane, an overwhelming presence filled the chapel. A warmth cascaded over her, and the air vibrated with palpable energy. With breathless anticipation, she watched in awe as the candles flared to life, the shadows retreating before them. Tears of joy streamed down faces as miracles sparked. "Is it true?" A voice trembled, filled with wonder. "Could God really be here among us?" Buzzed the excited whispers, electric with potential. Each miracle seemed to challenge the village's collective doubts and usher in a tidal wave of belief. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Sarah stood at the altar, breathing in the electric atmosphere. A burst of light exploded above, illuminating the chapel with an otherworldly glow. Hope bloomed fiercely, and with each beating heart, the villagers sensed an undeniable shift. As prayers were answered, the boundary between heaven and earth began to blur, and the crowd vibrated with an unquenchable yearning for divine connection. What would this mean for them? Who would they become amid these astonishing manifestations of faith? As the miracles breathed new life into their spirits, anticipation thickened the air. The village held its breath, hearts racing under the weight of transcendent possibilities. The answer to their sacred quest loomed ever closer, tucked within the pages of a divine mystery they had yet to unravel. Would they seize the transformation awaiting them, or would doubt creep back in like a winter-esque chill? Only time and their faith would reveal. As the echo of miracles receded, whispers began to fill the chapel, rising like smoke toward the heavens. Sarah's heart swelled with a mix of joy and trepidation. The elders, who had been so skeptical, now looked with awe at the twinkling lights that danced around them. Faces once shadowed by despair glowed with renewed hope. Transformation was not just a dream, it was happening. "Pastor Matthew," Sarah called, her voice trembling with emotion. "What now? How do we embrace this change?" The pastor stepped forward, his eyes shining with the fervor of the Spirit. "Now, my dear Sarah, we must share these encounters. Testimonies of faith can spark the flame in others' hearts." Eager applause rippled through the congregation. As one, they began to recount their experience as a child, declaring he felt warmth where once there had only cold despair. An elder woman sharing how her chronic pain faded into an inexplicable lightness. Each story wove together like a tapestry, binding the community in a shared journey of faith. As Sarah listened, her spirit soared. These were her people, each miracle, a stepping stone toward greater understanding. But still, a weight pressed upon her chest. What about her father? Would he respond in time? With unwavering resolve, she knelt before the altar, the flickering flame of a single candle illuminating her face. "Lord," she whispered, "I believe in your power. I believe in your miracles. Heal my father." The chapel fell silent, a reverent hush settling over the crowd as they joined in her plea. Tension hung heavy in the air, filled with a collective yearning. Suddenly, a ripple of energy surged through the room, a tangible acknowledgement from the heavens. Sarah's heart quickened. It was as if the very essence of faith surged through the walls, but doubt gnawed at the edges of this sacred moment, creeping back in like a whisper in the night. What if they were fooling themselves? What if the miracles were fleeting? Sarah shuddered as the memories of skepticism flickered in her mind, dark clouds threatening to overshadow her growing light. "Trust," Pastor Matthew's voice broke through the haze, as if reading her heart. "We must embody our belief like the rays of this candle. Even the smallest flame holds the power to shatter darkness." Nodding, Sarah grasped the candle, feeling its warmth seep into her fingers. She knew they had come so far. She could feel hope wrapping around her heart, urging her onward. As the evening unfurled, the congregation began singing softly, harmonizing in a gentle rhythm of unity. Sarah felt the vibrations mingle with the beat of her heart. It was then she sensed a great truth forming within her. What if sustaining this moment required more than isolated prayers? What if their faith could become a collective power forged in love and action? "Let us go to my Father," she suddenly declared, the words bursting forth boldly. "Let him experience the miracles unfolding among us." A wave of agreement washed through the crowd as they rallied around her. "Yes, let's go." With faith as their guide, the villagers followed Sarah into the night, their hearts ablaze with purpose. The streets of Fairwood glimmered under the guiding stars, each step resonating with an urgency that felt almost sacred. What would they discover at John's bedside? Would their faith be enough to reignite the flicker of hope in his weary heart? As they moved toward destiny, one question hung in the air: would they find the kind of miracle that changes everything? The answer awaited them right around the corner. As Sarah and the congregation made their way through the quiet streets of Fairwood, an electrifying energy pulsed in the air. Each step felt deliberate, infused with purpose and hope. The flickering street lamps cast warm light upon their faces, illuminating expressions of expectancy and faith. This was their moment. They believed. Arriving at John's home, Sarah paused at the threshold, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and hope. Memories of her father, his laughter, his warmth flooded back to her. Would she see that joyful spark again? The door creaked softly as Sarah pushed it open. Inside, The atmosphere was heavy with silence. The muted sounds of the night seemed to fade as they stepped into the room where John lay, his body frail beneath a worn blanket. She breathed deeply, gathering strength from the kind faces surrounding her. "Everyone, let South gather close," she urged. They formed a circle around John's bed, hands clasped together. "Pastor Matthew," Sarah whispered, "would you lead us in prayer?" Nodding, the pastor stepped forward. His voice resonated with authority and love. "Lord, we come to you as a community filled with faith. We bring before you John, a father, a friend. We ask for your healing touch to surround him. Let him feel your love now, just as we do." As he prayed, a tangible peace washed over the room. Soft murmurs of agreement echoed as hearts united in faith. Sarah squeezed her father's hand tightly, urging energy into his lifeless palm. "Open your heart, Dad," she whispered fervently. "Feel the presence of healing and love." Then, something remarkable happened. A flicker of light appeared in the corner of the room, growing brighter and warmer. The candles on the bedside table swayed gently, as if responding to a divine breeze. Gasps spread among the villagers. They watched in awe, realizing this was more than a moment. It was a visitation of grace. John stirred within the blanket, his eyelids fluttering as if he was pulled from a dream. "Sarah?" he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, Dad, it's me. We're all here," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with joy. "Feel the warmth, Dad." Another voice cried out, summoning encouragement. Tears streamed down Sarah's cheeks as John's eyes opened fully, revealing a glimmer of recognition. There was a flicker of life, a spark that had been hidden for too long. The bed creaked as he shifted slightly, drawn by the collective spirit of his family and community. What is happening?" John asked, confusion mixing with wonder. Her heart soaring, Sarah leaned closer, now filled with certainty. "You're loved, Dad. We're here to bring you hope. God has sent us." Another wave of warmth enveloped the room. The air felt rich with possibilities, an atmosphere thick enough to cut through years of despair. "Can you feel it?" Sarah asked, her words buoying his fading spirit. "Can you feel the miracles?" I feel something," he said, struggling against the weight of years. The room filled with hopeful cries, every heart pressing fervently into this sacred moment. Each was a beacon, channeling faith and love toward John. Shadows of doubt receded, giving way to a profound belief that something extraordinary was unfolding. As cheers erupted around John, he could not help but smile, a genuine, spark-filled smile that lit up his weary face. At that moment, a wave of understanding washed over Sarah, a realization that faith, when held by many, creates a force powerful enough to break through even the darkest of nights. Yet, amidst this divine unfolding, Sarah sensed a gentle tug within her spirit. What would happen next? Would John's recovery be complete? Or was this just the beginning of a more significant divine plan? As the light flickered, a new question arose: what transformation awaited them all, woven into this fabric of hope? The answer lingered on the edge of a heavenly promise, waiting to be revealed. The moment hung suspended, thick with faith-filled anticipation, as John's eyes gleamed with renewed light. The room, once shadowed by despair, now radiated with a transformative warmth. The congregation's voices entwined in a melodic harmony of praise, rising to the heavens on the wings of their devotion. "Dad, are you there?" Sarah's voice trembled as she brushed a tender hand against his forehead, feeling the coolness beneath her palm. "Can you feel God's love around you?" John blinked, the confusion in his eyes slowly melting into clarity. I can arrest something great." He inhaled deeply, like a man awakening from the depths of a long slumber. "It doesn't feel like just me. It feels like love all around." A chorus of amens swept through the room, echoing the shared understanding that moments like these bore the weight of heaven. Sarah's heart raced, each beat a testimony to what faith could cultivate. Then she saw it a flicker beyond John's eye, A flicker not just of recognition, but of connection, a glimpse of life returning to him. Pastor Matthew stepped closer, his hands raised. Brothers and sisters, this is not just a miracle for John. This is God's power manifesting among us. It reminds us that our faith can shake the foundations of the very earth. Sarah felt a swell of power in his words. They weren't just about her father's recovery. They were about every shattered heart filled with despair. Each member of the congregation seemed to grasp this truth, igniting fervor in their prayers. The air was electric, each word woven from the threads of hope and unyielding faith. As the moment unfolded, Sarah looked around the room. Faces brimmed with tears of joy, eyes shimmering like stars. Every heart was bound together by a spirit too big to capture in mere words. Yet one question lingered at the edges of her awareness, a gentle whisper beneath the joyous chaos. What came next? John, she urged, tilting her head closer. What do you see? I see light, Sarah, and people, so many people who love me. His words flowed, each breath more profound than the last. But there is something else. I feel drawn, almost like a thread, and it's pulling me somewhere. Gasps echoed in the room, curiosity mingling with wonder. A thread, Dad? Yes, a golden thread. It leads me back to joy, back to purpose. His hand weakly reached out towards Sarah S., as if the connection between them was the very thread he spoke of. Excitement wove a tapestry of joy throughout the room. But it was laced with another feeling, a holy tension. What is this thread? Pastor, what does this mean? Sarah asked, her voice breaking through the jubilant din. Every miracle has a purpose. Pastor Matthew responded, his tone serious yet inspiring. What John feels must carry a message. There's a journey that awaits him, and perhaps us all. Collective murmurs punctuated the air. A hush fell as realization dawned. If John was truly being called back, then there were lessons to learn, paths to walk. It wasn't just about healing. It was about transformation, a call to witness something greater than themselves. Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. What kind of journey would unfold? What divine secrets would be revealed? In that sacred space, surrounded by love, she felt the weight of expectation pressing gently against her chest. She glanced at her father, seeing the fatigue still etched on his face, but battling against hope's fervent sparkle. What happens when we follow that thread? She whispered, though perhaps it was much deeper than a mere utterance of prayer for guidance. As John released a breath, the room fell silent once more, expectant. The air shimmered with something profound, a promise waiting to take shape. Would they all be transformed? Could faith lead them to the next divine unveiling? And as the flickering light danced across the walls of the room, Sarah felt the sacred echo of their journey beckoning them forward. Would they discover the miraculous secrets that awaited them? The promise lingered, a whisper of divine potential ready to be revealed. In the stillness that followed, something shifted in the atmosphere. A presence, palpable and intense, wrapped around the gathered hearts like a warm embrace. John smiled gently, his spirit alight with a wisdom that seemed to surge from the golden thread he spoke of. Sarah, he said, his voice steady yet infused with a reverence that commanded attention. The thread, it's guiding us. It's showing me what really matters. A collective breath filled the room. Those words washed over the congregation like a soft wave, a truth that resonated within each soul present. Matters how, Dad? Sarah asked, drawn in by his sincerity. There's a journey, a calling, John continued, his eyes sparkling with clarity. It's not just for me. It's for every one of us here. We all are woven into this grand tapestry of God's love. Each of us plays a part. Pastor Matthew knelt down beside John, his heart swelling with anticipation. A journey, indeed, he affirmed, his voice carrying the weight of understanding. We are at the precipice of a divine unveiling. Let us be vigilant, for God whispers to us, urging us to seek the heart of this miracle. The atmosphere thickened with unspoken hopes. Together, the congregation leaned in, captivated by the possibility that stretched before them. "Close your eyes with me," John suggested, and as they did, the air crackled with energy. "Can you feel it? Imagine a light that guides. It pulls us, leads us to each other, to our true purpose." A soft hum of agreement rippled through the group. Sarah felt warmth flooding her heart. Was this the true power of faith? "God is calling us to something deeper," Pastor Matthew said, his voice low yet passionate. "Each thread represents a life, a story, moving toward a singular vision of unity." He made eye contact with several congregants, kindling the fire within their spirits. "And as we follow those threads, we will uncover secrets that have been woven into our existence." John looked at his daughter, his gentle gaze full of encouragement. "Sarah, you will play a role in this. We all will. Our gifts can heal. Our stories can inspire. Each step we take, when filled with faith, pulls us closer to God's intention for our lives." Tears streamed down Sarah's cheeks. She felt awash with purpose and certainty. "What do we need to do?" she whispered, filled with a sense of urgency. "Seek Him," John replied softly. "Spend time in prayer. Open your heart. Listen for the whispers of God. He will reveal the next steps in His time." As the last word lingered in the air, the room erupted in a symphony of voices. People began to pray, sharing their hopes and dreams, lifting their requests to the heavens. A gentle unity enveloped them, the golden thread binding them closer, weaving a divine promise among them all. In that sacred whirlwind of prayer, Sarah could almost see the thread, vibrant against the darkness. It shimmered like starlight, guiding each heart and soul, illuminating their paths with every fervent plea. Yet, even in this moment of profound connection, one question remained, echoing in the depths of Sarah's heart. Could following this thread lead them not just to understanding, but to transformative acts of love? As the congregation began to hum softly, in harmony with their joy, the thought settled in Sarah's mind. What divine adventures awaited them ahead? Would they find the miraculous secrets that had the power to transform their lives forever? And as the flickering light danced across the walls once more, filling them with anticipation, the golden thread beckoned, whispering promises still unexplored. The hum of prayer resonated in the room, a melody of faith that blended into one harmonious sound. Sarah felt it wrap around her like a comforting blanket. Each voice, a distinct note in a sacred choir, brought her closer to the truth of their shared journey. She opened her eyes, and the flickering candles cast a warm glow, illuminating faces of hope. "Imagine how our lives could change as we truly listen," John spoke softly, still stirring in the afterglow of prayer. "What if every thread we follow leads us to something greater?" As if inviting a response, a breeze swept through the room, rustling the pages of the Bible resting on the pulpit. The light shifted, dancing to an unseen rhythm, nudging the hearts of everyone present. In that moment, Sarah felt the golden thread pulse with life. "Dad," she whispered, the urgency returning to her voice. "What if we miss it? What if we don't recognize His call?" John smiled gently, a deep understanding reflected in his eyes. The beauty of God's love is that it can be both gentle and persistent. If we open our hearts, if we quiet our minds, we will hear Him. His voice is not lost among the noise. It's a whisper that becomes clearer the more we seek. Pastor Matthew nodded, lifting his hands slightly as if inviting the Spirit to move among them. Each of us faces distractions. Life pulls us in many directions. But remember, even the smallest moment of stillness can bring forth the miraculous. God waits for us to seek Him. The atmosphere grew warm and tinged with expectation, each breath pregnant with possibility. Sarah felt the weight of her thoughts shift, propelling her towards clarity. She closed her eyes again, this time focusing not only on hearing, but on feeling. The air thickened with a sense of belonging and revelation, wrapping around her like a rich tapestry woven with patience and divinity. as each individual prayed aloud, Sarah visualized the thread branching out, connecting them in ways they had yet to comprehend. Was it possible that through them all, God's greater purpose shone brighter? She opened her heart, inviting the light in, allowing it to fill every crevice of doubt or fear. Let us lift our voices together, Matthew encouraged. Let this be our unified prayer, a thread woven in belief and hope. The focus shifted, words intertwined, hearts aligned, dreams urged upward, pooling like a bright stream toward heaven. Sarah found herself lost in the moment, her voice rising with the assurance that this collective longing was not in vain. In that swirl of energy, she felt a sudden stillness deep within. Like a seed being nourished by rain, she sensed that divine promise germinating in her heart. Could love truly bring transformation? Was their bond powerful enough to unlock mysteries hidden for ages? She caught a glimpse of something, a vision of warmth radiating from each person. It sparkled like jewels, filling the air with potential and purpose. Sarah's heart raced, the realization dawning upon her. They would not walk this path alone. What if she started, her voice trembling with excitement? What if together we discover these secrets? What if our hands, once merely sharing stories, became instruments of healing and change? Yes, John exclaimed, the fire of encouragement igniting his words. The journey starts right here, right now. Every step we take will align us closer to God's intention. As prayers intensified around her, Sarah felt the golden thread shining even brighter. With each prayer lifted, it wove stories of hope, love, and endless possibilities. Yet, she also perceived an urgency, a deep yearning that hinted at breakthroughs yet to come. The hum of the congregation climbed higher, hearts blending together as the golden thread urged them toward becoming reflections of divine love. The energy became electric, vibrating with the risk of the unknown. What wondrous secrets lie ahead? Sarah wondered aloud, a tremor of anticipation lacing her thoughts. What will we uncover in this calling? With those questions lingering in the air, the room reverberated with an echo of faith, as if drawing them closer to the world that awaited beyond the walls. Would they step boldly into the mysteries beckoning them, trusting that the golden thread would guide their every move? As the humming prayer crescendoed, Sarah surrendered to the swell of faith enveloping them. Tears began to well in her eyes. They were not tears of sadness, but of sheer joy, bubbles of potential rising within her heart, ready to burst forth into new understanding. Feel it, she whispered, looking around the room. We are alive with purpose, aren't we? The faces around her glowed with the same light of realization. Pastor Matthew's voice broke the sacred hush, steady and reassuring. Yes, God's love moves through us, like a river flowing gently but steadily. Sometimes we must be willing to plunge deeper, to explore uncharted waters. What if the trust we extend in this moment stirs a miracle of transformation in our lives? John nodded, his eyes sparkling with inspiration. What if this thread leading us is more than just our shared desires? What if it's a direct line to his heart? As they lingered in those words, the breeze once again caressed the gathering, stirring hair and hearts alike. It felt as though the Holy Spirit danced among them, whispering secrets of the divine. Then, Sarah's mind drifted to the challenges that awaited them. Life was never a straight path. Would the golden thread guide them through trials, without doubt and fear pulling them down? She bit her lip at the thought. What happens when we're faced with decisions that tear at our faith? With swiftness, John responded, "It's in those very moments, my dear, that our faith must grow roots. It's the struggles that lead us to clothe ourselves in God's wisdom." An unexpected stillness settled upon the assembly. The room quieted, and each person appeared to bask in their own thoughts. Sarah felt the collective heartbeat sinking, a magical metronome of faith ringing consistently through their souls. "Can we pause?" Sarah called out, filled with an urge that sprung from deep within. Let us just be silent for a moment. Let us feel his presence together. Slowly, the room fell silent. Even the flickering flames seemed to stutter, quivering as if joining in solemn reverie. This silence bore heaviness, laden with possibilities. It was a moment that felt like eternity, stretching out like a bridge to heaven. In that stillness, Sarah's spirit bloomed wide open. She felt the warmth swell in her chest, flooding every concern with reassurance. God was there, waiting just beyond the veils of doubt and fear. She held on to that sensation, a tangible force shifting her from within. A sudden thrill seized her. We have to trust that revelation is right around the corner. She burst forth. God is eager to share what he has prepared for us. In this lush, sacred space, can we not sense the unfolding? The mysteries waiting to be unveiled? An electrified energy charged the air, and in that moment of clarity, she knew deep down the golden thread was alive, connecting them to something grander than what their eyes could perceive. John raised his arms high, his exuberance reaching the heavens. Let us commit to seeking him together. We will be his hands and feet. Miracles are bound to unfold as we step forward in faith. Yes, echoed the crowd, a roar of excitement filling the air. Each word was woven into the golden thread, strengthening their collective resolve. As they sought deeper connection, Sarah felt a question lingering in the back of her mind. What miraculous secrets were they about to unlock? With spirits soaring, they stood poised on the threshold of divine discovery, a vibrant anticipation swirling in the atmosphere. Would they dare embrace the wonders waiting just beyond the edge of their understanding? In that charged moment, Sarah could sense a shift within each heart around her. The anticipation thickened, almost tangible in the air, as if God himself was drawing nearer. She took a deep breath, absorbing the energy of collective belief. It felt like the very walls of the room vibrated with hope. Then, in the softest tone, Pastor Matthew spoke again. What if our journey is as much about the path as it is about the destination? What if each step of faith we take opens a door to revelation? His words hung in the air like a fragrant offering, inviting contemplation. Sarah glanced at her friends, their faces illuminated with varying shades of eagerness and wonder. She could see it now, the lives they lived, the challenges they faced, all converging at this moment of devotion. What do we need to let go of? She asked, her heart racing. What old burdens can we release to embrace the new? A pause fell again. Some closed their eyes, reflecting inward. Others exchanged knowing glances, a silent understanding passing between them. John finally broke the silence. Sometimes we hold on to things fear, regret, pride failing to recognize they weigh us down. Let us leave those at the altar of this moment. His voice rang with conviction, rallying their spirits. We can't enter the new while clutching the old, Sarah added, fueled by the spirit awakening within her. Imagine the freedom in surrendering everything that no longer serves our purpose. What if we truly let it go? Let it go, an elderly woman whispered, her face radiant with a promise of release. I've held on to grief long enough, yes. Sarah smiled brightly at her. We can pray together, lift those burdens in love and faith. As they joined hands, a flood of warmth washed over the group, like a gentle tide. They began to speak the names of their challenges aloud, each one an offering to God. Fears, disappointments, anger released into the room like smoke rising to heaven. Here we are, Lord, Pastor Matthew prayed, each word an affirmation. We come before you, laid bare. We ask for your guidance, your peace, and the strength to discern your will. With every utterance, Sarah felt lighter. The weight of expectations lifted, replaced by the soft assurance of divine grace. It reminded her of flowers blooming in spring, unfurling petal by petal to greet the sun. The path to transformation lay clear. They were shedding, renewing, and made alive in faith. Then, in the midst of their prayer, an extraordinary hush gripped the gathering. Suddenly, a spark of transcendent clarity enveloped them. A word, trust, broke through the silence, sharper than any voice. Trust? John mused, looking around the room as if searching the faces for answers. What does that mean for each of us? I think it's about surrendering our understanding, Sarah replied, her voice quivering with excitement. It's a call for deeper faith. We trust that the journey ahead is in His hands, even when it's unclear. The energy shifted again, the presence of God manifesting in their midst. Encouragement flowed from heart to heart, igniting a fire nestled deep within the essence of faith. Each person felt a longing to trust, an urgency to discover what was ahead. What if we asked God for the vision? Sarah spoke as a ripple of agreement swelled from her friends. What if we're bold enough to seek His will, believing that He is revealing miracles? A low murmur of affirmation floated through the group, blending into a harmonious cadence. Each voice added to the collective power a testament to their growing bond with the divine. In that charged atmosphere of laughter and joy, an invitation emerged. Was God calling them to discover the miracles of their heart? As they lingered in expectation, a powerful question hung delicately. What would they uncover when they fully opened their hearts to faith? As the anticipation hung in the air, Sarah felt a surge of hope mixed with uncertainty. The sensation prickled at her skin, and she could feel the others shifting, entranced by the spirit swirling around them. The essence of trust wrapped gently around her heart, encouraging her to step further into this divine invitation. Let us not just ask, Pastor Matthew urged, his voice rich with urgency. Let us position ourselves to receive. How do we open our hearts wider to God's promise? Silence enveloped them again, allowing their curiosity to roam free, weaving through thoughts and prayers. It was then that Sarah felt a small nudge inside her. What if we practice listening? She proposed softly. What do you mean? Someone chimed in, their eyes bright with an inner flame. She hesitated, gathering her thoughts. What if we take a moment to sit quietly, to listen for His whisper, to hear the miracles waiting to be shared? With a nod of agreement, they all settled into stillness. The air thickened, and for a heartbeat or two, it felt as if the world outside faded away. Close your eyes, Sarah reminded herself. Let the distractions vanish. She opened herself, feeling God's presence in the gentle swell of faith surrounding them. Time seemed to stretch as they surrendered further into the silence, every breath infused with purpose. The stillness deepened, illuminating the hidden corners of their hearts, beckoning, whispering, inviting transformation. Finally, the quiet broke, not with words, but with visuals, a cascade of colors, like ribbons in the wind, unfurling in Sarah's mind. Pictures of familiar faces, moments of laughter, memories tinged with pain, and visions of hope danced in a beautiful array. This was not merely inspiration. It felt like divine assembly, a purpose unfolding. Did anyone see anything? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I felt peace, a soft voice spoke from the back. The warm affirmation resonated, encouraging more to share. I got a glimpse of a tree, another person shared, excitement lacing their words. It was strong, deeply rooted. I feel like God is saying we are to grow deeper, branch out, and bear fruit. One by one they spoke, each revelation knitting them together, a tapestry woven with divine threads. Miracles aren't always loud, Pastor Matthew mentioned, a twinkle in his eye. Sometimes they blossom quietly in our hearts. As each moment passed, they realized they were being intertwined, not just through words, but through shared vision. Every revelation climbed higher, urging their spirits upward. What once felt daunting now seemed possible. God is calling us to see with new eyes, Sarah declared, exhilarated. He is revealing layers in each of us. What if these insights guide our next steps? What if they lead to the miracles we seek? A ripple of enthusiastic agreement swelled again, weaving through the group like a sacred unity, hearts ignited by faith. Let us reflect on this, Pastor Matthew encouraged, his eyes sparkling with wisdom. What specific action can we take to play our part in revealing these miracles? Sarah leaned into that question, her spirit aflame with possibilities. It was profound. She sensed they were standing on the brink of something awe-inspiring. But as the light grew near, a thought nagged at her. What did God truly expect of them? What came next? Let us hold on to that question and stay open, she added, her heart racing. What if the answers come in ways we don't yet imagine? As the evening drew near, it struck her. Each of them had a part to play. It consumed her thoughts. What if God's intention was more than just individual miracles? What if he wanted to weave their lives together into something extraordinary? The air pulsed with expectancy as they remained gathered in silence, ready to embrace whatever came next. What would God reveal in the next moments of their journey? And then, she wondered, was this just the beginning? The air in John S. room was thick with expectation. Hearts raced, eyes glimmered with tears, and breaths were shallow. The golden thread interlinking them pulsed with a divine rhythm, calling for action. John turned to his daughter, and in the softness of his gaze, Sarah recognized a profound truth that resonated deep within her soul. "Sarah," he whispered, a gentle yet steady voice, "we must trust the process. This moment isn't just for me. It is for all of us. God is revealing his plan, piece by piece." Those words echoed through the room, wrapping around the congregation like a warm embrace. A collective realization settled upon them. This moment, this miracle, was merely a starting point. As everyone drew closer, Sarah felt the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility surge through her veins. "Let us commit right now," she exclaimed, each word bursting with urgency. "Let us not just witness this miracle, but become living testimonies of God's grace. We can't just stop here." A flood of excited murmurs swept through the group. They yearned to carry the flickering flame of faith beyond the walls of the chapel and into the world. Pastor Matthew stepped forward. "Friends, we've seen the hand of God move powerfully today. We've felt the warmth of his embrace. Now, let us be the vessels by which his love flows." Sarah nodded, her heart racing. "We need to go into this village. Let us share our stories, share our miracles. We have to tell everyone about the hope we've found." A chorus of amens filled the air, igniting a spark of fervor within them. Souls, once burdened by doubt, were now alight with expectation, ready to embrace the mission set before them. They gathered in a circle once again, linking hands, feeling the strength weave through their connection. As they prayed, Sarah closed her eyes and envisioned the threads stretching far beyond the chapel, connecting every heart in Fairwood. She pictured lives transformed, hope ignited, and joy flooding the streets. Each person had a role in this divine melody, a note that when combined would sing a song of faith. "Lord," Sarah whispered, "we are willing. Use us, guide us, help us to illuminate the path for others." The candle flames flickered in response, a gentle fire that echoed their heart's commitment. Then John's voice broke through, strong and resolute. "We are a group, but we are also individuals. Each story matters. What has God done in your life? What miraculous transformation are you called to share?" One by one, the villagers began to share their testimonies, voices rolling like waves of faith. The young boy spoke of how he felt warmth flood over his aching limbs. The elderly woman described how, after years of sorrow, she found peace in her heart. One by one, each revelation unfolded like petals, revealing the beauty of divine love saturating their lives. "Sarah, join us. What has God shown you?" An eager voice called from within the circle. "Every blessing, every moment of hope was never just for me," Sarah began, her voice shaky but fierce. "It has been for us all. We are called not to keep this light to ourselves, but to spread it far and wide. We must not fear the darkness because we carry the flame of his love." As she spoke, she felt the presence of God weaving through the air, wrapping around them all, urging them onward. The sensation pulsed through her being, a holy assurance that they were destined for something greater. The energy in the room erupted. They felt transformed. They believed they could change lives with the tale of their miracles. The congregation's fervor intensified as they envisioned the village, door to door, heart to heart, sharing the marvelous secrets God had unveiled. Minutes turned to hours as laughter, love, and faith flooded the air. It was a sacred symphony that exploded in expressions of purpose. "Let us go," Sarah declared, and with that proclamation, the group surged forth. Out into the streets of Fairwood they went, illuminated by the still glowing flames of their hearts. They flowed together like a river of hope, knocking on doors, sharing stories, inviting others to feel the miraculous power they experienced. "Oh, my dear friends," an elderly woman cried out, "tell me about this light. I want what you have." With every door they knocked on, faces lit up, doubts began to dissolve like mist under the sun. The miraculous essence tangled itself through their stories, igniting sparks of faith wherever they went. What began with John's revival transformed the heart of Fairwood, one encounter at a time. The once desolate chapel became a beacon of hope, a refuge where people gathered, not just to worship, but to share miracles and truths, fueling each other's spirits in shared devotion. As weeks turned into months, the village thrummed with life, community growing as they instilled faith through their collective journey. Sarah marveled at the transformation, filling her heart. John stood by her side, his spirit renewed, eyes bright with joy. Look at the love being unleashed. It is more than anyone could have ever imagined. And as Sarah looked around, knowing they were merely at the beginning of understanding their call, she whispered, "This is the journey of faith. What if we trust and embrace each inspired step?" Together, in the warmth of God's presence and a village surging with newfound hope, they understood they had discovered something utterly miraculous, the embodiment of divine love. Join the movement. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that will inspire and transform your lives. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this incredible message even further. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this miraculous ending. We want to hear how God has transformed you. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope and love. This is the moment to show your support for stories that reveal His glory. Don't wait even one more second.